Okay, so I don't want to waste time, waiting for people to show up, so I'm just gonna get started and start showing some of the things I've been, just this volume, it's about to go like crazy. Some of the things I have been working on in Planet Zoo and some of the things that I have built. So we're just going to open a blank sandbox. I love that since they started doing updates, we get different animals at the bottom during the load screens, and we get different animals at the beginning of the game coming and running into the globe. I think that's kind of cool. All right, so we just have, an empty zoo here. We're gonna pause because it's gonna start to get angry at us about things that they want. Go out to the open here. And just a couple of things that I think are really cool that I've put some time into. So they all are part of other efforts for the most part. So I did a community zoo build, and that is where I built this. So I call this Spiral Picnic Pavilion. And I think it's just a nice little square space. I do have it as a habitat just so that the trash bins and picnic tables would load in there. But yeah, this was actually, I really wanted to build something cool and round. And so this has 4 different shops, easy enough to change out if you didn't want. So I think what we have Hot Dog Squad, Gulpy Soda, Cosmic Cow Milkshakes, and Missy Goods. So if you don't want those, you can always swap them out, just delete and plop a different one in there. But the really cool thing about this build that I really enjoyed doing was this roof. And I just kind of on accident came up with it. So I had built the base of the building, and I was like, okay, cool, now how do I build a round roof that doesn't look kind of silly, and looks really, I really wanted something modern art like. I don't know if this is or not, but it's pretty cool looking. So I was just playing around with pieces, but the view from the top of it, I really, really love. Like, it's just, I really love how this came out. And for the zoo project this was built for, we were building on a grid essentially, so everybody got a portion of the grid. So that's why we have these corner pieces here. But I really like how it makes just kind of a nice sitting area too for guests. Yeah, so that's that. Oh, and I'll do it at night because I added lighting. And as far as, I'll show you guys how to do the path as well, because I know that'll make a big difference. Okay, nighttime. I have no power. Let's fix that. All right. So just a little bit of lighting. We have some different colors on it, and some lights in front. You, of course, can change the colors when you put it into your zoo. But I was trying to light up this cool roof, which I didn't entirely succeed at, but it does get a little bit of light from a distance. You can see it on there. So going back to daytime, and then the path. So I really love aligned to grid for building paths. It always makes it so much easier. So for this one, I believe yeah, so I just did aligned a grid all the way around, filled it all in. Unfortunately, you can't click and drag. I even just went underneath those mulch pieces. But then, once I did all of that, I just did this little trick, which most people who play know how to do. Sorry, I would right click, but the right click has never worked on my game. See, right click doesn't work. And then that's how you kind of get it right along the walls there, so it fills all the way in. Alright, so that's one, and then obviously you would delete the barrier completely once you place it into your park. Bye-bye. There we go. Alright, so another one that I built for this same community zoo is a little bit more involved, but I love it. It's probably my favorite thing that I have built in this game to date, and I call it Frog Bog. Frogs are my favorite animal, so that is why I wanted to build this. And I usually put a show me, hide me and stuff like this. Maybe I did not for this one. Alright, so this one, since it has the barrier, you're going to want to sink it down so that the barrier is just at ground level. And this has all kinds of fun terrain in it, or it should. Add some water in here. This is the one thing that is really frustrating sometimes about the game, is where the water heights end up. So obviously I didn't get this quite at the right height, and so now my water doesn't want to go up. Let's try again. If anybody knows any hints for how to fix this issue, I would absolutely love to hear them, because I love placing habitats from, especially in franchise mode, I download habitats off the off the workshop all the time, and oh my goodness, what are you doing? Come on, Gabe. And put them in my franchise zoo, because in franchise you have to be managing that zoo like all the time. If you take a break to start to build stuff and it's still in play mode, you're just like screwed, for lack of a better word. Alright, let's try that one. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna just keep going. I don't want to take up that much time showing you guys how to put water into a zoo. Nope, just as bad. Okay. But this one's really cool. So I like this because I built, when you get the water to the right level, it also looks really cool. But I built four exhibits in here, and they are for the frogs, which makes sense because it's a frog bog. But when you're in here and you get the water at the right height, you're basically, it's like walking through a bog. It's very, very dense. Almost when you're in here, you can't see outside. I made a point to try to make it feel like you're fully into this swamp, bog place, whatever type of wetland you want it to be. There's another one over here, and then I have two entrances to this area. So there's the one on this side, so this I consider the secondary entrance, but it's got this nice little like shack, and then there's some bathrooms over here. So there's a couple of bathrooms. They're in there. They're just, I don't like the way the bathrooms look when they aren't hidden. I think they look kind of tacky. And then the other exhibit is on this side. So you got exhibit, two exhibits, and then the one exhibit over here. And then I just built this really cool little round gazebo type thing. And this I consider the main entrance because I made this cool frog bog sign with the new South America frog that you have here, and the butterfly lights. I love these butterfly lights. I have something that I really cannot wait to show you guys. So another cool thing you can do with this, and I kind of planned it this way that if you wanted to, you could. There's some bedding in here as part of the ground cover. So if you wanted to make this like a saltwater crocodile or a gharial habitat, like you absolutely could. You just have to figure out how to keep them in there. But it's absolutely a space that you could do that with. So then the path system for this is going to be pretty finicky, because I wanted it to be very winding. But I did help people a little bit by putting in these path lights. So if you kind of follow it, you'll be able to see it. I tried to put a map on the workshop for this, and for some reason the workshop was like file size too big, and I was like, it's okay, fine. But yeah, so my recommendation when you build the paths is to first, you want railings, and I think I used the bamboo when I did this, but I did it with just first doing that and then doing it on the other one. So you kind of get the platforms, you know, solid where they need to be, and you're not trying to figure out how to get the platforms to each other. Oh, come on. So then this is definitely a finicky part of it. So I'm going to show you how to do it on this side because there's not a big tree in the way. But I deleted this path. Delete path. Okay, don't delete path. But then I did an aligned grid. Get grid from group. And that's the wrong group. So, like I said, this one, there we go. So click the wall, and then you'll go 1 and 2. And then you'll want to change your grid. Click this wall, go 1 and 2. And then I would also recommend at this point to build your path going down to the main pathway on the backside entrance. Stop. Because at that point it's going to be easier than once you add another path. Once you add this, because this is going to get, there you go, that. There. And then the way this was designed is you have a main path going across the front here, and then you can't actually connect to both frogs. So I make sure to connect to one on one side and then the other one on the other side. And in this part, I usually also turn off the railing because I have a railing here. There you go. So that's kind of how it ends up looking, and you don't see the curbs, but the guests will be able to walk up to this frog on this side. They'll be able to see that one, but then if you connect the other frog on the other side, they'll have the better view and they'll be happy about it. I'm not, well, no, I'll show you how to do it because I want to show you guys how to connect that path too. So align to grid, select the wall, and then deselect grid, align to grid. Alright, and then put the railings back on and turn off the grid. And I'm going to that's fine. I didn't connect these. So these can definitely just be finicky. So finicky. But I promise it can be done. You just have to have a lot of patience. Which I know is not what people want to have when they're getting a workshop item. Then you can easily connect the pads there. Easily connect the pads here. And then you'll probably want to just adjust the lights. I don't think there's any way to guarantee getting them perfectly lined up unless you're some kind of magician. Okay, so then over here, so I have, let me turn off railings. And what I did over here was you shift and raise it and then drop it back down just so that the curb cannot be seen. And then I just did a nice little circle all the way around here. Do not try to connect the other path to this first. It'll be a headache. I definitely recommend connecting all of the, oh my gosh, rotate. All of the, doing all your platform ones first, because otherwise, when you're just connecting the other paths, we all know the path system is finicky. So, there we go. And then again here, so this has 3 paths that come off of it. So one's right here, down to the ground level. One is over here, down to ground level. And this is where the main path originally was in the zoo I was building on. And then one over here. So they kind of have an option to go through the whole gazebo. Now this one, I would recommend if you make this a gharial or saltwater crocodile exhibit, keep this one raised. Then the guests can see, because their bedding's right here. So you'd want to keep it raised probably so that the guests don't like freak out and get eaten. Not that they get eaten in this game, but and then once you get about here, then go ahead and drop it down. Obstructed because that's there. Okay, so you would remove that anyway. And when I did it, I did 2 paths, one here. If you use control, it won't auto snap, just as a tip. One off of here. There we go. And I would have put fencing back on there. And then we have a little path over here. Paths everywhere. I also have Snap on right now. You can definitely get more refining of your path placement if you turn off the auto snap. So I have it at snapped for 15. Alright, and then because I tried really, really hard to try to make it so that they could walk here, and it just wasn't having it. So I ended up creating a path space right here. It kind of just goes around and connects. And right now it doesn't want to connect, of course. Yeah. Finicky path system. Alright. And if you wanted to, you can always smooth out the edges and everything, but once you have the paths in, you kind of can really see how you're like fully immersed into this bog. And you get to see frogs, and if you decide to put gharials and stuff in, you'll get to see them as well. I keep going through trees. So yeah, I love this, and obviously I put lights in it, so it looks pretty cool at night too. So you just kind of get this like fairy twinkle glow when you're like out walking on the paths. And then you got the butterflies on the 2 exhibit buildings, as well as on this one too. If I had my camera on right now, which I don't because I look a hot mess, you guys would see me literally leaning. It would be quite entertaining. Yeah, I lean with my game when I'm trying to scroll to the edge. Confessions. And then this has some butterflies here. We got the frog bog. We got a couple of shops over here as well. Lights. And then on this side, this lights up too. So we got that lighting up a little bit too. We got some of the, I think I put flame torches on it. That aren't, yeah, so the flame torches, but they don't like flame, they just kind of give a orangey kind of glow. So yeah, so that's my frog bog. It's definitely one of my favorite things that I have built. Alright, so next I'm going to show you what I've done with butterfly lights that I absolutely love. Let me put this onto daytime again, because I don't want to build it while it's night. Okay, so this is also on my Steam Workshop, so I'm just kind of going to drop it here. And it's just a sculpture piece. It's nothing, nothing crazy, but it's got butterflies. So if you're in the United States, a lot of zoos tend to do the Asian lantern exhibits. So this was inspired by one that was posted by a friend. And it utilizes the butterfly lights and then those tree lights that we almost never know what to do with. Sorry, I have a tendency to spin really fast, and I'm going to apologize after that. So let me work out a smidge. So yeah, so I made every single butterfly a different variation of colors, because that was how the lantern looked, and I thought that was just absolutely awesome. So it has a lot of color. It's got this nice like red-orange trunk on the tree and the branches. And I'm going to show it to you guys at night because that's when it really, I mean, it looks pretty darn cool during the day, but at night with it all lit up, it just really, really looks cool. Alright, so switching to nighttime. Light up. Not dark enough yet. There we go. There we go. So I even changed, because you can change the light color on each of these butterflies in addition to the color of them. So it just makes this really crazy bright, but the butterflies all have different light colors too, which is why we're getting such a white light. Yeah, so I really like this, and it looks cool from like every angle. And I really enjoyed making this. This was a after work evening venture. I don't even know how many hours some of these take. Don't ask. Alright, so back to daytime. So that was just something I did on my own. It was inspired by something else I saw. So then I also have been creating things for Deladey's Desert franchise, and she's used a couple of these already as well. So one thing I made that was just really easy, just this desert fence. Just kind of pop it down here. Why are you sinking below the ground? But yep, it's nothing super fancy. It's just a little fence made out of the climbable logs. I also did a desert planter. I really love this tree. Yeah, I think this tree is really cool. But yeah, so much Joshua tree, yeah. So yeah, the Joshua trees are definitely high on my favorite tree to use in a desert biome. But yeah, I just made this little planter. It's nothing super fancy. What else have I made? I've made all of these things, but these are for another project that I will show you guys after I'm done showing you my cool little things. So I did this cool gift shop. So Deladey posted, when she was starting this, posted a lot of, and I do have a show me, hide me box over here. So she posted a lot of inspirations, photos, and I really thought this building that I modeled this after just looked really, really cool. So it had just this really crazy entrance, and I was like, I want to see if I can do that. So it took work, it took some skills, but I managed to do it, and I'm really, really proud of how this came out. The ends are a little wonky, so I definitely would recommend, like, you know, if you put this in your zoo, like, not, like, butting it up against something else and not having guests walk on the side, because that just, it looks wonky, and there just really wasn't, other than just putting a facade wall here, there really wasn't anything else I could do about it. So yeah, so this has some gift shop items in here. I borrowed them from, I guess I didn't borrow, I stole them. Who were they from? So Skylala on Steam posted these gift shop collection is what she calls it. And yeah, it's just some shelves with items on them already. There's another really good one too, and I have it in another zoo, but it just made it so much easier than trying to build out all of this on my own. I was able to just kind of fit them all in here, add some artistic bits around the top, and then I do put, when I build gift shops, I do like to put the actual shops in there. But I kind of bury them into the walls so they look more like your checkout area a little bit. And then there's obviously the items that they sell in those areas. So I did that. Even put lights on the lights on the ceiling. I put a lot of detail into this, but it came out awesome. I absolutely love how this came out. So this one, again, if you do the paths on it, it's going to be aligned to grid. Cut off. I want to kind of like sneak in here and grab it off of that guy, right? Yeah. Grab it off of that guy. And then just kind of fill this in. Oh, we're still doing bamboo, but that's fine. I might have sunk this a tiny bit too low because I thought I had left that open. But yeah, so you just fill this in with your path. And then once you deselect grid, you can usually snap it to that. Alright, so some of the path system might be broken from the latest update, which kind of is a bummer. because usually that would just snap. That used to just snap in there. And then I did the corner here. I think I had taken it up to 6. No, I kept that at 4. So I did the corner here to just kind of have it come out this way, and then just build a path freehand that comes out and goes through here, and then it kind of comes out to a square plaza area. So however you end up building that up in your zoo. I used gravel paths here and then wood paths inside too, so I didn't have the bamboo. Alright, so, oh, and this does have a staff space for the staff that has to work in the shops. I figured that just made sense. And I didn't put a keeper on the other side. So it does have a little staff space so that your staff can stay close to the shops. They don't wander too far to go find a staff area somewhere else. Alright, so another thing I've built for the Lady Zoo is a really cool entrance. I just have to find it in here. Shop. Oh, Desert Zoo entrance right there. So this is an entrance. So you would delete the entrance that comes with it, and again, show me, hide me. So you want this to just show there. And you probably will have to flatten because. Alright, I'm not going to keep fighting with it, but it can be done. I would recommend flattening prior to. Yeah, so this was another one of her inspirations. It's another desert zoo. I really liked this column structure. This looks very different from the inspiration because at the time we didn't have great rock building items, and in the inspiration it was like a stone wall, not so much brick. But then the roof is all curved just a little bit right here, which I really love. For admissions, I cheated a little, so I have a staff room right here, and I put windows out to the entrance so it looks like admission windows, but it's actually just the staff room, and then the extra window space, I just made it look closed. Planting, and then this does have great lights again, and I'll show you the lights on the gift shop as well once I bring a few of these up. So you got bathrooms over here, you got your staff room, and then you got some little shops over here. And there is an info area in the front, so before they go in, kind of like pick up maps or buy your tickets before going in is kind of how it usually works sometimes. If you have any questions, membership sales, you know, those kind of things that a lot of times at a real zoo you would have that off to the side of the admissions. Yeah, I really like it. I'm only going to share the things I really like with you guys. If I don't like it, I'm not going to share it anyway. Alright, so another thing that I built for that Desert Franchise Zoo is just a little toilet. And I know that DeLady did end up using this, but I liked it. It was one of the first things that I built for her zoo. And it's just super small, has 2 bathrooms in there, has this cool like sloped modern roof going on, and then I put a little planter. It looked very, very flat, which is a modern style that modern desert architecture style. Everything is just like white, and it's like white stucco everywhere. But it just looked way too flat in the game. So I added these little fence pieces with the gardens just to kind of give it a little bit more dimension. So I had put windows on the sides, but since it was for a franchise zoo, I was trying to keep the cost down, so I took the windows off. I might add them back on for the workshop now that she's used this before. So, just a little bathroom. It has cool lighting as well. But there's, I think, just one more that I want to show you guys. And this is a restaurant that I built. This one was a labor of love. So, there's just this really cool building again. And I was like, oh, I want to try to build that building. And I'm going to make it a restaurant. So, that's what I did. But this roof is something, because it's, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a pretty cool roof, and once I got it, and I was like, finally. We've got some picnic tables in here. Again, that's why I made this a habitat build instead of a building, because I wanted to keep the picnic tables in there, because you can get a path in there, but it's not easy. So that's why I was like, I wanted it to be this way, and then we got benches in here and picnic tables outside again. And again, this one has 3 shops in it, so it's got Pip Shot smoothies, Mexilente, and Gulpy soda. But of course, you can always change those out. And then I just really like these aloe plants. I think they have a good bright color and are very striking when they're in planters. So from this angle, you can kind of see this cool roof from ground level. It's kind of like this, like, 2 boats. Like, it's kind of what it reminds me of. It's like 2 boats that just kind of, like, ran into each other. And the image that she gave I didn't have a backside for it, so my backside is just, like, squares. Everything's just squared off on the back. But, this is, the angles and everything in this, it was a challenge, but I really enjoyed doing it. Lights on the inside, like, so yeah. And it's just got weird angles, so it is 2 buildings when you ungroup it. Yeah. So it's not just one building, it's multiple buildings. But yeah, so I'm going to turn on night and we can see these guys lit up because they look pretty cool. I know, so in real life, zoos generally aren't open at night a lot of times. So in zoos in real life, you don't have like cool lighting. So that's something that's kind of like, well, that's not normal, but I think since in the game the zoos stay open past night, sunset, it's kind of cool to have the different lighting effects. So this one I just put some, bulb lights around here to really accent the roof shape at night, and then just general lights just around to kind of not have it be pitch black. And then on the inside you can see this a little better. Got the benches with some planters so people can sit there and eat, picnic tables, planters. Sometimes things definitely don't load right when you get them, because this definitely used to be in the middle. And then this has, because it was kind of difficult to get the lights in there, and I didn't like the look necessarily, so I put lights all in here. So it just really lights up the plants here, and looks pretty cool. Same on this side, kind of on the inside there. And then for the bathroom, there's not a whole lot of lighting. I thought I put a light in. Okay, there it is. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a glow up here, depending on how dark it is around there. So there is a light down kind of in the hole there. That'll give you a little bit of a glow. But for the most part, I kept this one simple again, because it was something to be placed in franchise early on when you don't have a big pocket of change to build from. We can come over here. So I did do some lighting on this. I definitely wanted some uplights to kind of, excuse me, help you see the trees. So like the trees are each lit, and then we got some orange lights on the sides, and these lights, and then entrance lights, and then of course all of the lights inside, like you would in real life. And planters don't get lit, but the entrance has a lot of lights because you want your entrance to look big and grand. Always, you want it to draw attention, even if you're not open at 10 o'clock at night in real life. So I have plenty of lights over here, so definitely wanted to light up this tower because that tower is the attention getter for the entrance. That's, you know, that's how you know where to go. You see the tower. So definitely wanted to light up that. And then we have just some little lights around the entrance here, just kind of light it up without it being too much. And then I backlit Admissions and Desert Zoo so that those stand out. And then on the other side, we have some cool lights as well. So these shops each have a lighted sign above them. And then I just did some lights on the back just to kind of light up the entrance, because even if you're leaving when it's getting darker, like, you want to be able to see where you're going. So I wanted to light up the entrance as you're walking out. And then something I didn't point out to you guys, I think that's everything that was nighttime, right? Yes. Okay, so something I didn't point out to you guys this before. So I built, make it daytime so we can see it better. I hate how it, like, when you switch, it's just like, blah, light. And you're like, whoa, chill out. So I did build this cool, like, wall greenery art thing with some desert plants. So I thought that was a pretty fun thing to build, and a nice little detail. You kind of see those with, like, succulents and stuff. You'll see people do, like, succulent walls and stuff, and we just don't really have anything in the game like that. So I did that little ditty right there. Yeah, so these are all builds. Everything here, I believe, I think I put the planner on the workshop as well. So everything here should be on the workshop. Same username on the workshop as my YouTube here. So Frog Princess 525. Absolutely go download, use. I build these things because I want people to enjoy them as well. Put a lot of time and effort, and I can't always share the game. So being able to share them on the workshop just kind of makes all of that time worth it, you know? Yeah, so now I'm going to show you guys one of the other projects I've been working on, and I'm going to have to open up two different sandboxes. So I do have a desert zoo and a franchise zoos, and all of that. One of my franchise zoos is kind of broken because I put too much in it, and my computer can't handle it. So hopefully my husband's looking at getting a new graphic cards for both of our computers. So hopefully we will be able to play again soon. But yeah, I do have 4 franchises. Maybe it'll load here in a second. There we go. Yeah, so I have 4 different franchises. They're all a little bit different. I've done different things in them, destroyed them, rebuilt them, you know. But mostly I only play franchise when there's a challenge that I'm interested in, or I want to focus more on the maintenance aspect right now. Career mode I'm almost through all the way anyway. So the projects I have been working on are, so I live in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area. So the Virginia Zoo would be my home zoo here, and I actually volunteer there, and I really love it. And with this whole COVID thing, like, I haven't really had the chance to go and volunteer, so it's been a big bummer. But to get my zoo fix, I've been building the Virginia Zoo. So the timelines on all of this are all messed up, so it's not really a playable zoo at the moment. I kind of have to like rip the whole thing apart and start over. And I have it in 2 different zoos right now too. So I'm gonna first show you this one because this is the one with the parking lot, and I redid the entrance on this one to be more like the actual zoo. I'll show you in my other save of this zoo. It has the old entrance in it. There were some parts that just looked a little horrific, and I was like, I gotta fix this. So actually, if you watch my stream from the other day over the weekend, I actually streamed while I was fixing it. It's 4 hours, so you might want to zip through it faster, but I did record the fixer upper. We do have a hole. Okay, so I'm gonna pause again, just because there's nothing really worth seeing. So I did some landscaping here just to see how it would work, and buried a path underneath so that when I dig, it didn't go like past the path. But yes, it is, the Virginia Zoo is right on a river that will go out to the Chesapeake Bay and then out to the ocean. So I built a parking lot. I'm pretty proud of it. So I was watching Palsey's Buildable or Zooable series. His first 2 episodes are just him building a parking lot. It's an awesome parking lot, but it's a lot of parking lot building. So I kind of picked up some tips from him. The biggest one being that if you use the windows and bury them, and then use, let me just grab this. So I used the plaster floor for the brick and for the pavement, because we don't have pavement painters, which he talks about in his video, and I didn't want to make the whole thing a walkable path, because then we would just have guests all over the place, and I don't want them all over the place either. I might bury some paths under here, like to go by the crosswalk and stuff, and put and bury one of the people makers. Forget what they're called. But I haven't decided how I want to do that yet. And this is still just kind of a play around, build some blueprints that I'll then be able to plop into a zoo at some point when I have most of the buildings done. But the biggest tip that he gave was to use these window pieces when you're making your parking space lines. And I was like, that's pretty genius, because then you can evenly space them on the grid and it fits the Jeep that's in game perfectly. Like perfectly. So, and then he also showed how to do, the handicap parking. I might go and steal his actual people because mine look a little wonky and I'm not super pleased with them. The rest of this is just the shapes, a lot of art shapes for the stripes and stuff. But highly recommend, if you want to build your own parking lot, to go watch those videos. Just maybe speed them up a little, because there are 2 full streams of them. It's a lot that he did. All right, so then going on, I have, go away. Oh, my game froze up. Sorry guys, give me a second. Hopefully it won't crash. There we go. Okay. All right, so then we also have the entrance, and I am so much happier with how this looks over how the original one looked. It just looks a lot better. It's not as, like, some of the shapes are not as true to reality as they were on the original one, but the intent is still there, and so it looks better with what we have. Some people would literally build everything like tiny little piece by tiny little piece, but I don't quite have that much patience. So I did not do that, did not want to do that. Um, but we do have just, I think it just looks awesome. And this is pretty much how it looks in real life. We have this awesome elephant statue, which just go online and Google the Virginia Zoo, and like it's just an awesome statue that we have out there. It's made up, so it's not solid like this one is. It's made up of tiny butterflies all shaped into an elephant, and then it has an elephant holding a butterfly that is two elephant heads. Like it's a really, really cool statue. And if you actually look at it closely, a lot of people look at it, they're like, that's a cool statue, but like when you really look at it and once you realize that, you appreciate it so much more. What I don't have on here is we have a giraffe statue over on this part that I don't have right now, because I still have to figure out how to do, there's a garden space over here and a garden space on this side that I'll end up bury these paths under. I have a bike rack. This was a blueprint item. Sometimes I just look for things because I don't always have, I'm like, somebody's built a bike rack. I don't need to figure out how to build one. So I was able to get a bike rack. I do have a few little tweaks I need to do, like you need to put fencing on the sides. I'm still not sold on using these fences. I might change them again yet because they're not really fences. They're the like wall decoration grate pieces. But from above, it's not a perfect, like the center is a grid, but then it kind of goes off at angles. Which when I built this the first time, I kept it as just a grid, and it did not look right at all. I changed the tower on this one, changed the window that was here in the sign. Even though in real life the arch goes all the way from the bottom across and says Virginia Zoological Park, this just looks better. It looks cleaner, it looks simpler, it doesn't look, we didn't have the right shapes to really do it. These towers on this side are kind of not true to form. They're actually hexagonal towers in real life. And I tried doing round ones, but we don't have round pieces for the copper, so I kind of just had to make do with what we have. And if I tried to do round ones, they were going to be ginormous. Like, it just wasn't going to look right. So on the back, it's pretty much the same, but opposite. Got the restrooms, information, which would be the membership office / staff entrance. On the side, since this is a staff building, I did put staff rooms on both sides. Blah, 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 sliding. There's a staff room. And then this goes to like an access to animals and in real life, and like guests don't go past this area, so I have a staff path there. In real life, there's actually a classroom on this side, but we don't have that kind of stuff in this game, so. And then we have our ticket booths, and then a gift shop. I really love building gift shops. It's like my new favorite thing to do, especially because I have those two awesome builds from the workshop. Let me see if I can get us in here. There we go. So we have Hats Fantastic on one side. We've got some shelves and stuff. I really like this poster thing here. I think that really adds that touch of realism that you would have in a real zoo. Like, you're going to have posters of the animals. You got postcards, and there's a big candy wall here in the real zoo, which I was not about to try to build, but we got the little candy stand here, which kind of works. And then the other one is just a memento. I did end up putting, so I went with the glass walls here, which is kind of true, but in real life they have doors just similar, not like this really at all, but you know, like another door would be here, and it would just be like 3 doors that have but but you can't see through these doors. And I was like, well, I want us to be able to see it. So there's a hole in my roof. I want to be able to see it. So I ended up just putting a big window here instead. So yeah, so that's this part of the zoo. So I've also, which we'll see this in the other portion, built, this is the entry plaza, so it has a big compass in it, with brick pathing underneath. So I can build, you can do it, you do a line to grid, and this actually is, this is in the workshop, so I'll show you how to do the paths, because that way if you go to the workshop and download it, you will be able to see the paths. So there you go, get grid from group. And I just start filling it all in, filling it in. I wish we could drag. So pretty much I fill in until I don't want too much overhang. But filling in pretty much all the way to the edges. If it overhangs a little bit, I leave it, but if it overhangs a lot like that, I didn't. Alright, so I'm not gonna, I don't have the patience to do that all at the moment. Just kind of fill this in. And then we go back to that, you know, that fill in the corners trick. So you just kind of go here, and then delete, and I did another one, and then delete, and it ends up rounding it out. And so you do that all the way around, and it gets rid of the ones that stick out, and then it also fills in those gaps. You will end up with, uh-oh, Control Z. Alright, so that one doesn't want to work. I did, if I remember correctly, I did leave some where it just kind of ends like that. And it all depends on how you build your paths coming off here. So you can tell by the wisteria that I have around here. There's a path that goes here, there's a path that goes there, there's a path that goes there, there's a path that goes over here. So obviously all of those paths going off are going to, you know, create, you know, their own path thing going on. So you can use a different path then, and do it. And you do sometimes get the little gaps. It's going to happen, but for the most part, you can't tell. Unless you're zooming in a whole lot. You can't see that really, and you could always, you know, hide it with some wisteria, you know, or whatever. So it can be done. You just have to, you know, make it work. Make the game work for you. Alright, so I'm going to jump out of this. I'm going to go into my other one. They have a llama. Oh my gosh, I love that they don't have just the bear there. That's so fun. I love that it's a llama now. Alright, so this is the version that has a lot more in it, but it also has the ugly old entrance. And no parking lot, because I did the parking lot later on. I wasn't originally going to do a parking lot. So yeah, so this has a lot more in it. I'm kind of just focusing on getting the buildings built. So we've got, again, we've got the entrance area, we've got the compass area, there's going to be a train station over there. Unfortunately, we can't have trains and paths intersect, which is frustrating because that's how it works in real life, so I had to kind of like figure out how to make it work. So I kind of went with this train going under the path. I don't know. Because there's going to be other places that it intersects, so I'm going to have to figure out how I want to make it work because I don't know that I love it. Okay, we're going to pause because it's just going to be angry notifications the whole time. We got a little stand over here, which I made a refreshment stand. So they do have a little refreshment stand with your stroller rentals and all of that over here in the real park. They have their go-kart stand or golf cart stand there. And then they have the farmyard. So I'm going to definitely put llamas in here. I think I might, what do we have? I might put the camels in here, and some other animals. It still needs some work. I was kind of just plopping the buildings down and working it out a little bit here. Once I built this awesome building. So this is the World of Reptiles building. And I'm going to try to do a walkthrough of it because I'm so proud of it. So this is for monkeys. So they call it the World of Reptiles and Friends. And I have so much detail on the inside of this, and they just did this as a remodel, and it's amazing. So we have a keeper spot here, so you can see the keepers, which is how it is kind of in real life. They have some keeper areas, you can see them. But yeah, you just have all of this really cool information. We've got information things, we've got exhibits. You can fit every exhibit and then some in this building as it is built. So just a lot of art on the walls. We've got the snakes over here. We got some palm trees for the desert. I put different textures because one of the really cool things is they use different texture wallpapers throughout this building, and different colors. And I love that so they remodeled it. It was like ugly concrete building. It was gross. So like when they did all these walls, like it just changed it so much. I put this when I have a real keeper hut usually, so there should be a keeper hut back there. But in real life, this would all be access to behind the scenes where they would access the animals. So some vines. So in real life, they have a animal nursery over here. So, they breed lizards and turtles, and they put the nursery over here. So I just have some shelves in there, with some glass walls. Blah, blah, blah. And then we got my favorite. So they have frogs over here. So they have some other animals there. And then they have frogs. And then they have a frog lab, which is really cool. I don't have much in it, but we do have frog species here. And then there'll be amphibian crisis, extinction crisis. I need to find something to do like shelving, put on the shelves in there. And then this little window kind of lets you peek into the sleeping area for one of the bigger exhibits in here, which we'll get to in a minute. So if the animal wants to take a nap and is sleeping, you can see them there. More exhibits, they're just everywhere. Another entrance. I didn't put doors on these entrances. In real life, yes, they have doors, but this is indoor air-conditioned area, and it gets hot down here in the summer. Alright, so more exhibits in this area. More different colors just to add some interest. But then there's this area, so this will be a big glass habitat wall once I build this as an actual habitat and everything. And this is supposed to be filled with water. So this is for a saltwater crocodile or a gharial. And I was planning on putting a gharial in here because they're a little bit smaller and don't need as much space, just by a little bit. But yeah, I thought this came out looking really cool. Pretty accurate, actually, in my opinion, to how it is in real life. So it does have the underwater viewing, and then it's low enough that you can still see the animals. So it's got the nice open atrium. So I think this will be really cool once there's somebody in there. And then it's so hard to do this at this level sometimes. So this doesn't have anything in it, but in real life they have breeding pools for some native turtle species out here. So I really wanted to recreate that because it's kind of important work that our zoo is doing for conservation. And then we get into kind of the and friends part of the world of reptiles. So I did a spider wall. In reality, this is just more reptiles and stuff. When they were planning it, they had wanted to do a venomous snake wall, but then realized that it's not safe to have so many venomous snakes nearby because if something goes wrong with one, and then you got like 10 more right by you, like it could go really wrong. So they spread the venomous snakes out throughout the building, and they just have different reptiles over here. So in my version, I put all of the tarantulas and spiders with a nice big sign that kind of warns you that that's there. And this is for another habitat. So I think I was gonna put Komodos in there or Nile monitors. It might have been Nile monitors because they don't need as much space. So that's for another habitat. And then this will be another habitat. So I don't know how much detail I have in this one yet. So I haven't done a whole lot in here. So in real life, that is, there's just all kinds of bigger reptiles along this wall. But we need a lot of space for ours, so I couldn't. I have so many exhibits already, I didn't want to keep doing exhibits. So just one reptile over there, and then we have another exhibit over here with somebody in it. I think I put the Gila monster in there. So in real life, it's really cool because they have 4 reptile spaces, and it's all different color monitors. So you have a red, a yellow, a black, and a blue monitor. So it's kind of cool. So this is the main viewing for that second habitat. And this is going to be an armadillo, or maybe a pangolin. In real life, they have, aardvark or pangolin. We don't have armadillos. In real life, we have armadillos in here along with sloths. But neither of those are in the game. So I will probably put a pangolin in there. And then this is going to be on this side. We're just going to go over this fence. We're going to put capuchins, I think, now that we have them. So we have 2 different monkey species in this area. It's actually divided in real life. And then this is actually not done in real life. And it's going to be a little different here because it's hard to do indoor in-ground water features. So in real life we have like a pool here, and then it's like birds inside the atrium. So I ended up putting a pool with a waterfall over here, and then I'll just do some kind of plants in pots or something, and I'll put somebody in there. Maybe I'll put the aardvark in there. I think he'd be a good spot for that. And then yeah, so that's all of that inside, and then I'm just gonna monkeys. So then I have space so the monkeys can come outside, and I built them this nice little atrium area, hoping that they cannot get up on these ropes, because that would not be good. So I tried to keep any platforms lower. These are just generic platforms that were with the game, and then I will put a chain link fence around here with the barrier on the top. So that's the one building that's 100% done, and I'm really excited about. So then I'm still working on our Asia area over here. So you can tell kind of by it's going to be rocks, it's going to be landscaping. There's a lot. This is a really cool area. It's very, you get a lot of good viewing of the animals on that from this. So I really want to capture that in my build. So it's going to take a lot of work. And just got a bathroom over there. There's going to be another building over here. Just a pavilion here. We got a Zoo Live stage. So they do animal presentations here for the program animals. So there's like some different animals that they bring out, and you can get up close and see them a lot closer. There's some owls, there's some big snakes, chickens, things that aren't, you know, particularly dangerous that kids can like get that up close and personal with. This is our animal wellness center. So in real life they have, you know, the vet area, and then the kitchen for the food. I'm not super excited about how this looks now. This was one of the earlier things I built. So I'll probably go back and do some changes with this and this, because I don't love how it looks. But this has a lot of facilities in it, some quarantine areas that wouldn't work in the game because of the way the game is. So yeah, lots of facilities on this. And then we have our Africa restaurant area. So we got a bathroom, which I'm probably going to redo because I just don't like the roof. And then the actual restaurant, which again, you can, like, guests can actually walk in here, walk through here. We got some decorations and stuff, and things definitely don't always load the same, do they? Because that should be on the wall, not like floating out of it. Lots of seating. It's all on a grid, so it's really easy to do an aligned grid on that for the seating. And then a little info space in the back. Lots of seating options. And then we have our Africa barn over here. So this is one of the things I more recently finished. I know it looks a little weird because there's going to be a path on a ramp between these two and then down to the ground. But this houses 5-6 different species of animals. There's some birds that live in that space. So this has giraffes, elephants, ostriches, other things. This fencing goes like all over the place around it. But I wasn't gonna build it all as part of this. So once I actually put this into an actual zoo build, I will do that there. Lots of detail on this. A little animal board, and then we have all of these areas have, you know, the hay for them to sleep on. I built the doors by myself because I didn't like any doors and I wanted sliding doors. That zoomed fast. So I actually built sliding door things on the inside where no one's gonna ever see it really. And then you can, aside from this tree that I sunk into the ground, so there's staff space in here as well. Whoop. Sorry, did not zoom in enough. Yeah, so there's some staff space in there with a staff room, keeper space, and there's a mechanic space on the other side there. And then we have the giraffe area. Let's travel through some walls. So this is a guest area where the guest would walk through and be able to see the giraffes inside and the elephants inside. So I built the giraffe area. We got the feeders in there for them. Underneath there, you got more keeper space, so the keepers would be able to get in. And then in our elephant area, you got the big old bars, so that the elephants don't escape. I even built a cool little rolly looking door over here. It looks like it, but it doesn't actually work. It's just corrugated, the corrugated metal pieces, corrugated aluminum. So that's pretty much complete. I mean, I might add more detail here or there or something, depending on how it works in an actual functioning game. And then slowly scrolling this way is what I'm working on, and I'm actually kind of mad that they made new rocks for Australia because this is all rock work, and in real life so this has the desert rocks, and in real life this is all like that red rock that they have now for Australia, and I'm just like, I want to change all of these rocks to that rock, and then I'm like, do I really want to do that? And so I'm kind of torn on if I want to do that or not. So I kind of stopped working on this and started like going back to other things that I was building. So this is an Africa area. Some small animal exhibits like tortoises and meerkats would be over here. We got some exhibit animals. The barns for the lion, zebra, Watusi, and rhino would be back here, and then they would be able to go out into the yards over here where people would actually see them. So this is like behind the scenes back here, and this is the side guests would see when they walk through. So the yards would be here and over here, and it'll all kind of just weave through and connect. So, and then the last little spice is an Aldabra tortoise. These are my favorite guys at the zoo. I love them. The old man is just got protesters because they're in a box. But yeah, we have an old man. He's like 90 some years old, and he's hilarious. But I really like this building because it has these planters on the side of it. And in real life, they have like herbs and stuff that they can feed to the animals, but I went with flowers because they looked prettier. The only thing I couldn't figure out at this time how to do was a sloped wall, because in real life this wall slopes out, so the base would be here and it would slope out to like here. So everybody is always hitting their head on the glass because it slopes and you're trying to see the tortoises. Yeah, so this is the big project I'm working on. So sometimes when you tune in, you'll see me working on various parts of it. I don't always put my mic on because talking for 4 hours is exhausting, and a lot of times since I'm just starting a channel, I don't have people streaming or watching my streams. So I do hope to at some point download my longer streams and do speed builds, but I don't have the computer program to do that at the moment, or the time really, because I do work a full-time job and I'm just doing this as fun, and I figured I could share maybe some hints, tips, inspiration for other people. Yeah, if you want to see anything particular, absolutely, or if you want to see if give me a challenge and send me some inspiration, absolutely hit me up in the comments. I think YouTube has a way to direct message, so you can direct message me inspirations or anything as well. But I'm really excited about these builds, and I'll have 2 red panda exhibits once we finally get the zoo going. But this is what I've been working on since the game came out, pretty much, and this is my big labor of love project on this, and hopefully someday I'll actually get it done. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope you guys enjoy seeing what I've created so far, and I look forward to sharing my build process with you. If I do change all of those rocks out to the red desert rock, I will not share that with you. But I'm gonna go. I hope everybody has a great day that has tuned in after the fact. And yeah, if there's anything particular you're interested in seeing, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to do a live video for it.